You guys! We're done painting the floors. I'm thrilled, a little tired. We ended late last night. It was like midnight, 12:30 by the time we got to bed. I need a big night's sleep, but I'm still excited. Yeah, I'm loving the results. It looks so good. I'm busy today kind of like pushing furniture back and like moving things around. Some things I'll need help with. What? Can I talk? I don't know what I'm saying. Some things I will need help from Jose with. I think that's how you say that. You guys get the point. Because I don't want to like drag it across the floor. Things like that. But so I have my coffee. It's early. And I'm going to be moving some stuff back. So I just want to say thank you for sticking by our sides the past 3 weeks while I was a crazy woman painting floors every day. I promise to return to a normal human that gets ready every day and isn't so insane soon. So thank you. It means a lot. Here's what the room looks like with some of the furniture kind of like in a place. It's not its final resting spot. In fact, that clock isn't going behind that sofa, things like that. But I wanted to show you before I start making things look pretty. Look at those floors. So beautiful. I'm obsessed. Like, I'm so obsessed with our house. I can't, like before, I'll explain this all later, but I just wasn't in love with it before. And obviously it's still looking horrible now because we don't have stuff back in place, but I still love it way more than I did before.
So we're putting the front bedroom back together, we're putting the front living room back together, and where we put the, kind of our bigger couch, we have a blank wall. We're gonna actually be putting the windows that were on the other side of the room, we're gonna be putting them there. And a couple little things I learned along the way when it comes to hanging stuff and not wanting to mark up the walls is if you take painter's tape, and this might not be a secret, maybe everybody knows this, I didn't. You take painter's tape and kind of put it into the general area where you're going to be hanging your whatever picture item. You can mark on this all day long, put your holes, it's easily markable. I mean, you can write on it. You can drill to it, and I rip it away as soon as the screw's in place. And then you walk away without a whole bunch of marks on your wall. It's done. So kind of to recap here, when we hang stuff that needs kind of particular measurements or locations, I do that painter's tape. So what I end up doing is finding center of the wall here, and I already had holes from where we hung it before. They're kind of right there and right there, screw holes. So when I started hanging them, what I tried to do is I lined the center right here with that tape, and then once we got it kind of where we wanted, we really wanted as high as we could to really bring that eye up, to really bring your eyes up to the ceiling, make this room look a little bit bigger. We installed one screw, leveled out the side vertically, screwed the other side in, and then did wash and repeat for the other panel. So just like that, we have a little backdrop for our couch. It's another snowy day here in Michigan. There is a ridiculous amount of snow. It's unbelievable. Look at this. Look, it's up to my boot. Boys want something. They keep yelling at me. Morning, boys. Nah. Grace does this thing where she'll jump and see who is just entered the barn. Let's see if I can get it. Good morning, Grace. Good morning, Grace. If you follow the White Cottage Farm blog, you know that I religiously use Ryobi products. They have a brand new 18-volt 1+ system reciprocating saw. So we're going to test it out today. Actually, we have to run over to the Found Cottage. They're having some water issues, and we think it has to do with the outside water drain system from the roof. So what better time to test out a new product than in 20 degrees, snowing outside and dealing with potentially water. So we're gonna knock it out. Let's take a look at the saw. Now I got the blade on. Installing the blade. Move the battery card off the feed. There we go. Pictures. All right, this is kind of fun. I mean, I don't know one person that doesn't like getting the reciprocating saw in their hand to go cut something. So, initial review is it's quiet. It's a brushless. That's their new thing. So, it does cut down a lot of the noise. There's not a whole lot of vibration and jumping. Look, I'm just holding my hand. A couple of the other ones I've had, just by pulling the trigger, the thing's jumping around. So, hopefully it's a good tool for the job. It's the only one I'm bringing. So, let's go check it out. Heading up. Back in the day. Heading to the next one. I don't know what it is about doing anything around big trucks like loaders and dump trucks, but it's kind of fun. So what I'm doing is I'm jumping in the bucket. We have pipes, PVC pipes, that are on the outside of our building, and with it being this cold in Michigan, they're frozen, not letting the water drain out, so we have a bunch of buildup on the top of the found cottage, and that's turning into a leak inside the building. So one more pipe to cut. Say that's a victory. Thing held up, only went through one battery. Messed around with some water in the cold. No problem.
And then we're just gonna go that way. That's a nice one. It's going to get cold. No. It's actually not bad down here. It's worse up there. It's like we're not in the wind, you know? Right. Don't follow it. I hate you. You love me? Huh? You love me? I love you. I was recording you. Come on, there. There. Go there. Here. Go.
Okay. This is cool. So if you've never been to the Midwest or anywhere cold, we're a bunch of weirdos that play on the ice. Let's check it out.
Don't follow us. Hey guys. Just playing out on the ice.
Hang on. This would be cool. Oh no. Let's see your best ice skills.
this is about it. Watch, I can turn.
I think I heard it crack.
Stop. That's my foot.
Oh.
Don't scare me like that. I've never ice skated before.
No?
I don't think. Maybe once.
This would be a good spot for it, I think.
I don't think you can claim to be a Michigander if you haven't. But my turn skills are amazing.
So we're in Croton, Newaygo, Michigan, and they have every year they have it's called Dam to Dam. So they have 2 dams that kind of is where we're sitting on right now, and they have this big ice fishing tournament. And I think the ice right now, I don't know what we're standing on, but
hopefully a good foot of ice.
Yeah, it's about 10 to 14 inches of ice in different areas, so we're feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be out here if we didn't.
No.
But people do fall in.
Yeah, it's scary.
We had a couple people that they'll put snowmobiles out here, or motorcycles or whatnot, and they'll find a soft spot or when they turn. But yeah, but it's cool, very cool. So if you live in Florida or more south, this is what we're doing right now.
In Michigan, we walk on frozen water, so that's what we do for fun here. What do you do?
What's going on, everybody? So we're back at the house. Wanted to finish out this review of this Ryobi brushless circular saw. You know, I threw it at the elements that first go. So if you didn't understand what was going on, our outside drain for the building had a lot of backup. It was frozen inside the PVC pipes. Those were PVC pipes that I was cutting. The water drain off the building was frozen inside the PVC pipes, not allowing the water to go anywhere. So in turn, it was building up on the roof. Don't want to put a whole lot of weight in the roof with it being an older commercial building. And then in turn, it was also leaking in the building, which is, you know, bad news bears. So we decided the approach we want to do was just cut it. And I felt like this was the tool for the job, and it definitely held up, and it was in turn the tool for the job. I don't know anything else that I would have used to cut that. And I'll point out a key feature that I think a lot of this quality of the brushless. But what I end up doing, Uncle is a excavator, so he has a couple loaders and whatnot. So he had one of his guys come out, put me in the bucket, got up to the roof line about 8 to 10 inches down from the elbow where that pipe comes out. We wanted to flush cut that across to allow it to drain right out of the roof, because that water inside the building was a lot warmer, obviously. We didn't think it was going to back up right out of there. So that 8 to 10 inches allows us to throw another coupler in there this spring and figure out maybe a better system for that building, so we don't run into this again. But this tool came in the mail to give it a go. Ryobi sends me stuff every now and then just to give it a try. And, you know, I felt like that was a good time to do it. It was cold, snowing, and as soon as you cut into that pipe, you had water spewing out because it was all backed up from the roof line. When I first made the cut, I did cut away from myself, but the whole top of this was covered in water, and it iced over before I even got done with the job. And it didn't miss a beat. So one of the key features I think brushless kind of hones in on, not only is it a little bit less resistant to the battery, so it gives you a couple more minutes out of this battery than a regular non-brushless tool, but I think it's a little bit lighter. I don't know if that's a selling point for them, but this is one of the lightest reciprocating saws I've ever held. And that really came in handy when I was going to do that cut, because getting around the back side of the building, being in the loader, I was bracing myself at one point against the building, and then only allowing myself to have a single hand on this to finish that cut. And I don't think all of the other reciprocating saws are pretty heavy, especially top end heavy. So even if you are the strongest man in the world, being able to hold this thing somewhat parallel to get that cut, it can prove to be difficult. This one, not so much. This one's just a little lever here that kind of releases it, and then you pull it out. This is a wood blade. This blade does come with the set when you get it. They have a couple other blades. Didn't think PVC was going to hold up or stop this thing from cutting through, and it didn't by any means, even with all that ice on there. One other thing I didn't get a chance to use is this little switch right here just below that clamp. you got this guy right here. It swivels around and you can put it back in there. If it zooms in on that, I don't think it'll focus. Yeah, so the arrows, you have back and forth arrows, and then you have this little circle. Come on now. There you go. That just signifies that you have an orbital style and a back and forth, kind of your traditional style. The blade in your traditional style obviously just goes back and forth. In the orbital style, it kind of does a little rotation to really allow you to dive in that cut with a little bit less effort. I didn't get a chance to use that. I just did the traditional. But yeah, and then on top of that, with it being brushless, not a whole lot of resistance. To it, not a whole lot of jumping. I know I pointed that out earlier before I got to use it, but while actually using it, that still proved to be beneficial. I mean, this thing isn't jumping. I'm using one hand right now, and it doesn't jump around on you. So I'm very impressed, very, very impressed. So if you're in the market for a reciprocating saw, definitely check this one out, Ryobi, especially if you have their 1+ battery packs floating around. Definitely add this one to your tool chest. I know I wish I would have had it earlier in the year. When it got cold, the barn, the way it settles in the winter, a lot of the swinging doors were having a hard time opening for the stalls that we put Grace in or the boys. And I ended up taking the doors off the hinges, took the circular saw, shortened them up, put them back on. Now they work. With this, if I would have had one of these, I probably could have left it hanging in place and just nipped the bottom without having to do those extra steps. So definitely worth having, I think, on the tool shelf if you don't already. I highly recommend it. And that's it. That's a pretty quick down and dirty review. Let me know what you think about these. You know, we plan on doing a lot more DIY here. A little bit in the life of kind of some adventures of LMB and myself. You know, kind of going to some of the antique shops, doing this, that, and the other. And I know we plan on doing a lot more around the house videos. But if you don't mind, we'll review every now and then. Let us know. Let us know, absolutely. If you don't want to hear anymore, because there's plenty of them out there, let us know that too. Check it out. Ryobi brushless reciprocating saw. I'll put a link below. I have a little page on Ryobi, and we'll do some builds every now and then with them. Cool. But I have a lot in my workshop. If you want to hear more, send some requests over. I'll let you know what I use. I'm starting to get on board with this brushless thing. I thought it was just a gimmick at first, but I have 3 tools now that are technically brushless, and they happen to be some of my favorite tools. They're a lot more quiet. I feel like the batteries last a lot longer on them. So let us know what you think of the review, and thanks for watching. As always, give grace.
Back in the day.